teams spend whatever they want to try to keep these star players.
Okay, well, if you franchise tag someone and they pull Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, it's a risk. I mean, you have to see what happens when you get there.
What if you got rid of guaranteed contracts?
I don't know what good that really does if you give it a guaranteed contracts.
Well, it makes the players play. Like J.R. Smith wouldn't be sitting at home collecting $15 million.
Well, but he wouldn't have gotten $15 million in the first place then. The contracts would have been smaller for him.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have the same dollar on the contract. So I think that problem wouldn't arise, if there were not guaranteed contracts.
I do like the draft idea. I thought that was a decent idea to make at least you're giving the bottom 5 teams a chance, because the bottom 5 teams are normally the bottom 5 teams.
Yeah, so to explore that, and Rick kind of ran through it quickly, we have a friend who said, listen, if you're the bottom 5 team, you get your lottery pick, and then you also get another pick. And we bounced around what it was, but I think what I landed on was the worst team gets the 10th pick, then the 11th, and the 12th, and the 13th. So you'd end up getting 2 top lottery picks. You get 2 lottery picks.
One and 10.
Yeah,
2 and 9.
See, I wouldn't do that, because then all the first time top 10 picks go to those 5 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that because you screw teams 6 through 9. They're bad too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would go 1, 10, 2, 11. I'd go up that way. Then you all end up with 2 lottery picks. But your other teams, 6 through 10, they suck too. They need players.
Yeah, the problem is in the NBA draft, there's how many people wash out in the NBA draft. It's notorious. Every year you have 5 standouts in the draft, if you're lucky.
Yeah, but I understand that, but you still can't you can't skew it that much to those 5 teams. And maybe you only do 3 teams. I don't really know. I don't think that drastic option is ever going to happen, nor do I think they're going to do what European sports do. And I find this interesting. What about relegation and promotion? The way that works is you divide the league in half, okay? The top 16 teams play for the NBA championship. The bottom 2 teams in the league get dropped down to the other division, and the top 2 from that division get moved up. That is the way soccer works. That's the way almost all European sports work. And what happens is you end up with a lot of exciting games in 2 separate leagues than what we get sometimes when we have Cleveland playing Orlando.
Yeah, that's a whole different bag of worms there, too.
Yeah, I don't think that would ever happen here in the U.S. because we just aren't that kind of – we don't have – our mindset doesn't work that way. But I think it's an interesting concept. Either way, I do think the NBA needs to do something. I think the length of contract is probably the one thing in the CBA they could fix. I think you could stop with this 2-year with a player option on the second year stuff.
Yeah, that one definitely has to go too. You have to do something about the players playing too. You have to make it so they can't just sit out because they don't feel like playing tonight. You have to be able to do something with that.
And that, again, I know that when they changed the schedule to eliminate that or to help that, and that seems to have helped.
Yeah, except for LeBron sat out.
Kawhi has sat out a lot this year.
Yeah.
Kawhi, I think, has missed 8 games with load management, which just
what is
fun.
Load management? It sounds like a bad porn. It really does. I mean, come on.
Oh,
LeBron
boy.
sat out for a month and a half, and he came back, and he had load management. Did he have a rough night on Hollywood Boulevard? What the hell?
Workload management.
Yeah, that sounds like something a porn star says.
So it might be, but in this context, what it means is wear and tear through the season. I don't like.
I know porn stars that say the same thing.
I don't like that Kawhi Leonard has missed so many games, but I will say this. Toronto seems to have their hands around what Kawhi needs. They're playing really well. That's a story that we're kind of missing here. They're having a really good season to the extent that they might keep him. That young talent around him, they might end up keeping him. So we'll see.
They are catering to him in hopes that he stays. Let's be honest.
Well, wouldn't you? That's what you do with a superstar.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but they are trying to make sure they can keep him. Like OKC did a great job keeping Paul George.
Yes.
They made him happy. That being said, Toronto's a whole different beast. The taxes are different. Everything's different. I still see Kawhi leaving no matter what they do. Just
he seems to be focused on the Clippers.
Yeah. There
was rumors. I don't know if it's rumors. I think he did buy a house in L.A. The Clippers seem to want him, and maybe he goes there. But look, in my interview with Trevor Lane, he said the Lakers were 100% sure Paul George was coming until he didn't. So maybe the Clippers are going to be the same. But what if the Toronto Raptors get to the finals and you have that team back, plus you have a spot for another good player? I tell you what, that'd be hard to leave.
It would be, but it took LeBron nothing to leave.
I want to talk about LeVar Ball quickly. I know you did not want his name mentioned here. Look, I want to say this first because I think it's important. LeVar Ball raised 3 boys who are now, one's an NBA player, 2 are still trying to make it to the NBA. I believe his youngest is going to try to go to college. He's raised 3 good men, 3 good young men. He deserves credit for that. What I get frustrated about is he heard his name mentioned, right? All of a sudden people are saying, well, LeBron has kept LeVar Ball down. He is really powerful. LeVar Ball has quieted down. And LeVar Ball just couldn't help himself. He gets in front of the media. He calls Luke Walton the worst coach. He talks about all the players on the Lakers making his son have a bad attitude about basketball. His son has been terrible this year, by the way. He's hurt. He has less than 10 points. He has less than 5 rebounds. He has less than 5 assists. He does. I just looked it up. And he's out till the end of February at a minimum. So Lonzo Ball is struggling, and LeVar Ball is now saying, I'm going to wish him into Phoenix. To me, I am not happy with a father doing that to his son. I think he's putting too much pressure on a good young man. And I think he's doing it to get his other 2 sons in the NBA. I just feel like that's not how you're supposed to do it as a dad. What are your thoughts on LeVar? And I guess let's bring it back to Lonzo. Where do you think Lonzo Ball fits in this NBA, and where would he be the best? How does he get the most out of his talent?
Well, it's weird because I looked up, I was talking about Lonzo earlier today, and his numbers are actually better without LeBron on the court. He shoots better, his assists are up, his rebounds are up without LeBron on the court. I like Lonzo. I don't think he's bad. I think Lonzo gets a bad rep because his dad's such a douchebag and just doesn't know when to shut up and let his son play basketball. I mean, come on. Let the kid be a kid and keep your nose out of it. You're not the one out there dribbling. You're not the one out there making the shot. Let your son go out there and have fun and have the time of his life. He's getting to do something that less than 1% of the population gets to do. Let him do it. Keep your nose out of it and let him become the man he's going to be.
Yeah, and I guess part of this for me is, he's at 9, almost 10 points. He's at 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He's shooting
higher with LeBron off the court.
Yeah, but how much higher? He's not playing well at all. He can't shoot the ball. He's a 41% free throw shooter. I just don't think he has star in the league written all over him. Where I think he would make a difference, where I think he could be his best, is with a really talented big man. Maybe DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix. I actually would think he would play really good with Anothny Davis in LA if LeBron James wasn't the ball dominant player he is. He just needs somebody around him that can set up pick and roll so he can make a play. He's not going to score a lot shooting, but he's a poor man's Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons is a hell of a player. Lonzo Ball is an okay player. I just don't think he's going to be the star that LeVar Ball all told us he was going to be.
No, I don't know if he'll ever get to that level, but I mean he would be. He's the guy on the right team you see getting 6th man of the year because he's a good defender. He is a good defender. He's actually a very good passer. He is a hell of a passer. And he will give you effort. I can see if he could grow into a 6th man, he could be a 6th man of the year.
What I find interesting about your take on him is he really is a lesser version of Ben Simmons, who you absolutely hate.
He can shoot better than Ben Simmons.
No, he can't. You're wrong. You're not right there.
Ben Simmons doesn't take jump shots. They actually put highlights of him taking a jump shot.
Lonzo doesn't make them.
Lonzo takes them.
Oh, you miss all of them you take? Who cares?
He makes them every now and then.
He's not a good shooter, and Ben Simmons is a much better rebounder and passer. Much better. I don't think Lonzo can play defense, and Lonzo's a big guard. And I think big point guards have a place in the NBA.
But where I put him as was 6th man, I didn't put him as an all-star like you guys have Ben Simmons.
He is an all-star. Ben Simmons is going to change this game. It's going to take a few years. He's going to change this game. He is the next LeBron James in terms of changing the game. He really is. He's that kind of talent.
We're not going to shoot the ball outside of the layup line.
He doesn't need to. He affects the game in so many other ways. You don't have to score a basket. You have Jimmy Butler. You have Joel Embiid. You have J.J. Redick. Those guys can score the basketball.
I agree, but the problem they're having is they're literally looking at ways to get him off the court at the end of the game because he can't shoot.
No, they talked about that. He's been the best closer in the last 5 games. He's made 2 jump shots. 2 jump shots.
Oh, no. I've missed. We've had NFL going on. If he's made 2 jump shots in 5 games.
He's set a record.
That's 2 jump shots in 5 games.
But the fact that he was open, they left him open, he made the shots. He's never going to be. Let's be clear. Never going to be a LeBron James type shooter or even a good shooter. That's just not his game. But he is a scorer. He can score the basketball better than Lonzo can because he's bigger.
Yeah.
He's a bigger guy, and he's just got so much other talent. And Lonzo has those talents too, just not at the level of Ben Simmons.
Well, and he's also, I mean, Lonzo, if you put Lonzo next to Ben Simmons, Lonzo's going to look like a little skinny kid. I mean, Ben has a man body on him.
He does. Before we go to our next break, Kyrie Irving is somebody who we felt should have stayed in Cleveland. Honestly, I was upset that they let him go because I think he could have done great things here because I thought he was going to become a leader. It's not happening. It's just not happening. He has now come out and said, prior to the season, he said, I'm going to re-sign in Boston. Now he's saying, I don't owe Boston shit, and ask me in July. And now he's saying he's frustrated that he's being tied to guys like KD and AD. He's basically just in the media bitching and moaning every chance he gets. And we said when he came out a few weeks ago and said, I want to be a better leader, we said, go do it. I don't think he's capable of doing it. And it's frustrating because he's so talented. But he just isn't a leader of men. And I don't know what happens to him next. I just don't know what the next move is.
He'll be in New York with Kevin Durant. And they'll sit there and they'll light Madison Square Garden's on fire. They'll love to see it. But at the end of the day, they won't win because they'll just... Well, if they get Zion also, that team would be scary. Athletically, because you could have Kyrie and Durant shoot from anywhere. And, hey, Zion, why don't you just give some offensive rebounds and dunk everything underneath? That team could be scary. But Kyrie's not the 1A guy. He's the 1B guy.
Well, and to be clear, there aren't many of them.
No.
There aren't many guys who could be the best player on a team and lead a team to a championship. And that is one of the reasons I think LeBron and Michael before him and Magic before him were just so special. They were the best players on their team, arguably some of the best players in the league, and they were also really, really good leaders of men.
You know, the funny thing is, though, is like you saw Michael do it, right? Michael was a great leader. LeBron will argue whether he's a great leader or not, but he does get it out of his players, and he does lead them in championships. There's another guy out there. Is he actually a great leader, or is he on a great team? Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I think it's the former or the second. He's not a great leader in my opinion.
So I mean, you put him and Kyrie on the same team, that could actually, which one was going to be the leader?
Right, and plus, we talk about this New York thing. Look, James Dolan's a terrible owner. I'm not sure they want any part of that garbage. I mean, I know that Kyrie's from that area and Kevin Durant's been tied to the New York scene for a while, but I don't know that James Dolan, and now he's got good basketball people running the team, but I don't know that he can get them all together and make it work in New York. They had all this cap space before a few years ago, and they spent it on Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith and, a bag of basketball. So, I just think it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Knicks. I'm really frustrated in Kyrie Irving. Great talent. I guess he's one of those guys that probably never wins a championship without another alpha. I mean, he won one with LeBron. I think he would need an alpha again. But now he seems to be resistant to that. He wants to be the alpha without the capability to do so.
The problem is Boston does need an alpha. Boston does need a leader, and they don't really have anybody stepping up, taking the role in the way you're supposed to.
Right.
I mean, they all sit there. Kyrie talks to the media, and everybody else points fingers at Kyrie. The person that should be taking over that team and be the leader of that team is Horford. Horford's been around the league a long time.
And I think he is. All reports are that Alpha Horford is the leader of that locker room, and they have come together. Kyrie, since he had his little speech, they have come together and won a lot of games. I think they're going to be a fine team, but I don't think they win a championship with him as the leader.
Yeah.
We are Bad Friend Choices. Rick Carpenter, I am John O'Donnell. We are going to take a break. We will be back to talk Browns, the NFL. Please give us a call for our last segment, 330-752-2775.